welcome to the Bovasin Outdoor Chronicles.
How come you always get to do the intro?
You can do it first.
Hello, welcome to the Bovasin Outdoor Chronicles. My name's Garett.
And my name's Jared.
We're two brothers who love the outdoors, spend most of our free time and all of our money on our weekend adventures. From working all week
To playing all weekend.
we find ourselves
Surviving the week to live on the weekend. I don't want to be a critic here, but I kind of feel like that was rushed. So
That was like
you'll do better
perfect.
next time. It's all right. You need some practice.
Let our listeners vote. Who should do the intro?
I don't think our listeners can tell the difference between our sound.
Fair enough.
No.
When we actually sync up the audio, it's hard to tell which one of us is actually talking.
Yeah.
So what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about our opening day rifle antelope 2024. We got the old man with us and my wife, Holly.
Hi.
Last time you were on, I think you were just a girlfriend.
Fiance, actually.
Yeah.
It's
right.
important.
Technicality.
Right. Let's see that ring. Let's show the camera the ring. Dang.
Oh, damn. Who bought that for you?
Some dude.
There's a lot of quarters at Walmart for sure. Out of that machine.
That one arm getting buff carrying that big thing around.
How did you become a wife? How'd you make the step from girlfriend to wife?
Obeying.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it.
That's my father right here.
No, weirdly, I meant like cooking dinner, Garrett.
Alrighty.
She's been drinking wine. Cheers.
So, all right. Well, let's get into it. How did this antelope hunt start? So it's opening day.
We're making a plan, right? It was
Yeah.
going to be, you guys work for the government, so you guys had Monday off.
Yep.
Originally, I was going to take Friday off, but then I decided to take Monday off because you guys have Monday off. And I could maybe leave early on Friday, and you guys were going to take Friday and go up there and set up camp and scout a little bit before.
Prior opening. Because if anyone's hunted antelope in Montana before, it becomes a little bit of a frenzy that opening morning. People just running roads, and unless you really have a spot picked out, it's kind of a scramble.
Yeah.
Trying to find antelope. So the thought was, let's get up there a day early, kind of figure out a plan and go from there. So we previously, 2-3 weekends before, we were bow hunting antelope. We kind of did a loop and kind of found it because where we normally hunt antelope, they weren't really in there this year.
Nowhere to be found.
And so,
And this year, Fish and Game split the tag.
right.
So you can hunt a lot more area with that tag, and this year they split it where you had to pick north or south. So we picked our side and went from there. So where we could hunt on our side, there was none there. Normally we would go to the other
side,
chunk,
yeah.
but we couldn't with the tag we had. So we also, between us four, we had 9 tags. Joe had 3 tags. You drew an A and a B tag, and then you picked up a surplus B tag. Garrett had an A and B, I had an A and B, and Holly had an A and B tag.
And our B tags were region specific.
So like sub-region specific.
Right. So
Yeah.
it kind of limited exactly where we wanted to go. But we were out, we searched, kind of found a couple groups of antelope.
Yep.
And I had some school stuff going on, so I couldn't go back out. And you went out and scouted some more.
Hunted with my bow.
Okay.
Put some stalks on some antelope.
Couldn't seal the deal, though.
No, had one at 45 yards that I didn't want to shoot, and then the one I wanted to shoot I had at 60. And I know some guys 60's a chip shot, but it was pretty windy that day, and it wasn't something I didn't want to have to try to stalk or catch up to a wounded antelope. So
that's something you always have to think when you're out hunting, taking these shots.
yeah.
If things go wrong, do I have the time commitment to try to make things go right? If I wound an animal, is there enough land for me to try to go get another position on that animal, or is there time that I can wait out until it slows down and stuff? So that's something you always have to be aware of, especially when you're bow hunting.
And I had to be back that evening in Billings for a family thing.
Right. So you were...
Plus, you don't want to leave something out there suffering if you don't recover or can't find it.
Yeah. Well, how many people have you talked to that shoot 80, 90 yards at antelope?
Oh, yeah. Common, really, anymore. Once somebody did it, then they can do it. It just gets out. Some things are meant for the range and other things are meant for hunting. And I think that long shooting bows that far at 90 yards should be left for the range.
even as like
you can be the best shot in the world.
right. There's
And
one
90 yards is
One
your
thing.
hang time is so long. The wind could do
that's even
you know?
talking to Dan English on that previous episode with Vormy. He was talking about you can shoot these archery far, but that's not really the essence of bow hunting. The essence of bow hunting is getting in close with the animals.
Yep.
And people that shoot that far,
Well,
it's bow hunting, but
The
is it
thing
really?
is, with shooting anymore, and it's rifle, bows, and everything, everybody's into that where they're making these long shots with no matter what they're using. I watched a guy on YouTube the other
You
day
need
make
to
a
talk more into your mic.
made
There
a
you
guy
go.
a guy made a 360 some yard shot at a balloon with a bow. I mean, it becomes trick shooting, and then people start applying that to hunting.
I just watched one where they shot a half a mile with a bow.
Yeah.
Matthews designed the bow, whatever. It was a big target to hit, not an animal size. Super cool, not ethical to shoot an animal, right? Obviously that far.
And I did see on Facebook one of the groups someone shot an antelope with a rifle this year that had an arrow like through its head.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen
Yep.
that too.
I showed you guys
And
that.
it's just, that's the type of stuff that makes you sick. That's the type of stuff that turns people against hunters.
Right.
That's the type of stuff that turns landowners against hunters coming on their land and leaving arrows and animals because we don't give a shit. We're just trying to kill things.
right. And we don't know the circumstances of that particular antelope.
But yeah, it could have been a close
Right.
shot.
But it's hard when you're out there and then you see this animal you've been, you walked so many miles and you see this animal you've been chasing and it's just outside what you're used to. It's just outside what you're used to and comfortable with, and you're going to do it because you're excited, and then it turns into a mess for you and maybe the animal too.
I'm guilty of it. Not with a bow, with a rifle,
Right. Kind of pushing that boundary.
pushing that boundary. But my boundary's not 900 yards either,
Right.
you know. I'm pushing probably 400 yards is me pushing out there. The difference is, too, with a rifle, I feel like there's a higher chance of me getting another shot if I do put a bad one on,
Right.
Yeah.
right? With a bow, you head shoot that antelope. Obviously, it got away. You're not catching it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah. But back to what we're doing.
Made
So,
a plan.
we had a plan. You guys were going to head out Friday. I was going to come out a little later after I got off work. You guys were going to go down, spot the antelope. We planned on camping and go from there. So Thursday night, Holly and I had to go grocery shopping. We were buying groceries for the whole trip. And we were taking 2 trucks. You guys had a truck. We had a truck. We had all the coolers and the food. And you guys had like
The camping
your
stuff.
camper,
pop-up.
pop-up, that
And
sort
the
of
thought
stuff.
was we divide the task, right? You guys get the food, we get the camping stuff, and then
Yep.
ultimate time efficiency.
And I think I had the stove.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, excuse me. We're shopping at Walmart. Holly is not having a good time, not happy.
Nope.
Probably from work, probably from me being like, we gotta go. You know, it's getting late. We go to Walmart and she's having a little bit of back pain.
Yeah. A little bit is an understatement, but
A little bit of history here. Holly's had, 3 kidney stones?
5 now.
5. So
Oh,
she
man.
had 4 up to this point. And
I
we're-
know what a kidney stone feels like. This is important.
You should start naming them,
Have
Well,
our own little rock collection.
Yeah.
Well, this is you got this one. This is the first one you found.
Oh,
Yeah.
you actually
Yep.
gave birth to this one.
I did give birth to
It's
this
on,
one.
it's
Yeah.
on top of
I'm
our
gonna make a
fridge
cute
right
little
now.
necklace out
The
of
president
it.
have a
Nice.
TikTok
It's going to be the
account.
most expensive necklace I own.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the ER bill.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So we're sitting in the truck, just about to go in. She's like, I just having pain, and I'm like, is it like woman pain?
No.
Is it back pain?
Wrong. Okay. I am already in so much pain. I've already been bawling in Walmart, and he's
No, this is in the parking lot, in the truck.
Okay, we can argue about this, but all I remember is Jared looks at me. He's like, "Did you just like throw your back out?" I'm like, "No, I promise you, I didn't. Maybe it's just period cramps." No, it's not. He keeps digging this hole, and I'm like, I'm so mad. I'm in so much pain. I know what a kidney stone feels like. And he's like belittling it, like it's probably just you slept wrong. No, it was not.
He's
So-
wishful thinking. So
Yeah, I was wishful thinking
No.
because if
was
this
not
is a
good.
kidney stone, that's like a nightcap,
Deal breaker.
right? Yeah,
Right.
deal breaker. So, and Holly was going to go antelope hunting. She's got a kidney stone. She's not going antelope hunting.
And
So-
this was her first year with a tag, right?
First
there's
year having
extra
an antelope
motivation
tag.
for you to get her out there.
Yes.
And then she pulls up, oh, my back's hurting. You're like,
We're in
shape
the
up.
parking lot. She's like, my back's starting to hurt.
I've already taken
She's
so
like-
much Advil. He
she's
does
like,
not know this.
It's just feeling, and I'm at the point, I'm not like belittling it. I'm just like, could it be anything else? Are you sure it's a kidney stone? I've had a kidney
not
stone.
how I
know
remember
what
it.
it's like. We get into Walmart, and she's like, well, let's just go in and shop. I'll be fine. Correct me if I'm wrong. You said, I don't want to go in the hospital again. What are they going to do? I'll just have a big bill. I'll try to like muscle through the pain.
100%. You know how much money I spent on kidney
I
stones?
agree. So the thought
Yeah.
was we're going to go in. If it is a kidney stone, it's not in full blown pain yet. We'll shop, get her home, right? And she's going to suffer through it. And I think I picked up 2 or 3 things, and you looked at me and you were like, I got to go. I got to go. So we just left the cart in the middle of Walmart. I called you two and said,
Holly's having a kidney stone. You're going to have to do all the shopping.
yep, we're going to the ER.
And I talk to Joe and I go, that mother. Again, no matter what trip we're going on, I feel like it's always me and the old man getting everything together. Somehow Jared has an elaborate plan where he just shows up.
You know how hard it is to plant a kidney stone? Months of preparation.
Feeding her dairy and cheese or something, trying to build a
Tommy's
stone.
grinding up. Yeah, so we went into the hospital to the ER. We pulled up to one ER. It was packed. We went to the other one. It wasn't as packed. The one that wasn't as packed, I don't like to go to. I've had bad experiences there as far as wait times and everything. So we go in and she's sitting waiting. We check in and they're not calling her name. They're calling people, not calling her name. And she's like, I'm going to puke. I'm going to puke. You kept
I
going to the
keep
bathroom.
going to the bathroom. Also, it's cold in the bathroom and I was so nauseous. So I was just going in there and standing in there. I was trying to get any reprieve from the pain and not. It was the most miserable I think I've ever been with a kidney stone. And I'm like not being nice to Jared. I'm like,
No.
I'm not. I can't even.
Well, he did start off as like, are you sure he didn't sleep wrong? So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe some of that's justified.
100%. And I'm like, you need to go talk to him, Jared. I'm like trying to order him around. I finally get up. I go talk to him. And they're like, oh, we've had a place for you back there. We've had a room. I don't know why you're not back there.
Yeah,
you know
they
how
grind you.
infuriating that is when you're in that much pain?
Right.
And they're like, here, take this hot pack. You'll be fine. I'm like, if I touch a hot pack, I will puke in your lobby. Like, take it. It'll make you feel better. And I took the hot pack and just start puking in the lobby.
They're
I
handing
can't
me bag
stop.
after bag. She's puking.
Just because the pain
The
was
pain
so
was
immense.
so bad.
Well,
that-
she must have radioed back there when
Oh,
she
yeah.
started puking. All of a sudden, the nurse comes out real
She
quick.
comes back. What's your name?
And she's like, I can hear him talking there. And she's like, I don't have her chart. Where's her name at? What's her name? We have a room for her. Give me her stuff. Like, why is she still out here? They're kind of arguing. So they grab Holly and we go in the back and they bring us into the room and they're like, not our nurse, but another nurse comes in and just kind of checks us in. And it's like, hey, your nurse will be right with you. The doctor will be in a second. We'll take care of you. And then we just sit there and wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait, and we wait. And she's like, you got
I'm almost screaming in this. I'm
I
so
can't
much
imagine
pain.
that level of frustration,
It's
though.
horrible. I don't even
and it's
remember after
coming
having so much pain.
right this way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not doing anything wrong, and I'm getting the brunt of it.
That's as soon
At
as you
one
said I do.
point-
That's
At one point, I look over and Jared's watching TikToks. I'm in so much pain. And I was like, this stupid guy. I'm going to lose
She's
my
so mad.
mind. Seriously, I'm like, your TikToks are more important. Go get a doctor.
Like, I go over, I'd rub her back. Don't touch me! Like, okay. And I try to talk to her. Don't talk to me! All right. So I just sit in the corner, and like, I'm playing on the phone. Don't play on your phone! I'm like, I can't wait.
It's not logical. At that point, it's just surviving.
So finally, I hit the nurse's button for her. Her nurse comes in. She's like, oh, yeah, your nurse will be with you in just a second. And she walks out. And I can hear them talking like through the vents in the doors, the glass doors. And they're like, where'd that nurse go? We have no idea where she's at. Can someone go find her? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, holy shit. So we wait some more, nothing. I hit it again. Nurse comes in, a guy nurse this time. And I'm like, hey, do you have any way we can get her hooked up to an IV? And he's like, someone should have done that already. I'm like, no one has. Well, I'll do it. Well, by now she's puked so much she's dehydrated, nothing in her veins.
They can't get any needles in me.
Bump
They
City.
poke this arm, they poke that arm. I'm all bruised up. I'm like, just put it in my hand. And they hate doing that. Like, that's how they always have to do it. They did it. They got the pain meds in finally.
Yep.
It was horrible. They pumped me full of fentanyl.
Actually, he didn't do it. It was, he couldn't get one, and another nurse came in, not our nurse, and put it in your hand, right? So, yeah, we did that one. And then,
But they pumped me full of Toradol, fentanyl, morphine, and then gave me oxycodone.
Damn.
So you
And
were
so-
flying high.
I'd fake
was
me one of those
Yeah.
for that too.
Yeah, it
They
was.
couldn't find a vein in your arm. Oh, just put it in the hand.
Well,
That
and-
normally works.
And I looked like I was drug seeking. I had like all the check marks of drug seeking paper. I'm like, usually they use morphine. Give me morphine. And I'm sitting there like every 15 minutes. I'm like, I need more. And so they kept giving me fentanyl, but I was in so much pain. They told me I was just burning through it and it wasn't even touching it. I never had any reprieve until they gave me that morphine. I was like, you have to
Drug
give
of
it to me.
choice. Morphine.
Yeah, exactly. It looked so bad. And then he's like, well, we got to send him home. I was like, but what if I don't have enough drugs? And I'm like, I'm not leaving until Jared has my prescription. You have to prescribe me enough. It was not good.
And so her nurse finally shows up after she's hooked up to the IV. And maybe the doctor saw you by then. I think the doctor had come in and given you Toradol or whatever.
Well, the doctor
or
had
okayed
to,
it.
yeah, they had to be the ones to do it all. So
Finally her nurse shows up after all this has gone down. And she walks in, she's like, okay, so what brings you in today? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, we've been here for 2 hours and you're asking that? So, long story short, they doped her up.
I haven't written my letter, but I will write a strongly worded letter.
Yeah. And I left to go get her prescription because I'm like, hey, when these pain meds wear off, I need something. So they sent it to a pharmacy. I went and got it. Well, they kick her out of her room.
When
And
he's
I
gone.
specifically talked to her shitty nurse. I said, keep her in the room with pain meds going into her arm till I get back. And
Because you want to stay ahead of that
I
pain.
want to stay ahead of it.
And it's weird. Right after he left, she came in every 2 minutes and was like, "You ready to go? Where is he? Ready to go?" I'm like, okay, so you can ignore me for an hour and a half, but you can come in every 2 minutes and
And
kick
the
me
ER
out.
wasn't busy. There was empty rooms everywhere. It wasn't a packed night. And the nurse even said so.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, must be a busy night. And she's like, no, not really.
Not the thing to say
Yeah.
to your patient.
No.
Who's
And
been
so,
waiting for you.
Yeah, we did. We got out of there. We took you home. You're on Oxycontin and nausea meds and went to bed.
So that sounds like an ordeal. What time did you guys get home?
Past 1.
Oof.
And I got up, went to work at 5:30.
Well, I need to say that while you were going through this, I was struggling through the aisles of Wally
Oh my
World,
gosh.
having to do all this
whatever.
shopping, lift this heavy thing of water. So we both suffered here.
Yeah, I'm sure. On different levels, right?
Yeah, except I actually had to use a self-checkout because there was no person to assist
how do
me.
you do it?
I don't know. But don't worry, I got the groceries.
So on top of this, Holly's thing, not only did we not get a shop, I was going to pack Thursday night. So none of my stuff was packed. So even if it was just me going, because obviously she can't go now, I still had to pack all my stuff. So I went to work and worked for half a day and came home. And then about 9 o'clock maybe, I'd have to check my phone. About 9 o'clock, she texts me, I passed the stone. And I'm like, there we go.
Half a day, 9 o'clock. What time do you start work?
No, halfway through my day because I had a short day Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like,
He's on your works to the old boss.
Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, so about 9 o'clock, you called, passed stone. I'm like, oh, great. This is going to work out. So I worked my half a day, headed home, and we started packing. And you were very...
I was not going to go still because I looked it up and it said online
Don't
that
hunt
the
with
pain,
morphine.
well, the pain doesn't stop. And so I was still in pain and it was still residual
on
because it
Oxycontin.
cuts up your insides as it comes down. And so I was still in so much pain. I was like, I'm still not going to go.
Yeah.
Well, Jared looks at me and he's like, you can just sleep in the truck on the way there. And I'm like, And he's like, we can get snacks. And I'm sitting there, okay. And I'm all high, and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
And I'm like, what are you going to do
took
here?
advantage of your
I'm going to
wife.
lay here. I'm like, you can lay in the truck. Well, what if we walk? I go, we'll walk a little bit. Then you lay in the field. You lay in.
Yeah,
Can we-
it'll be a weekend of a nap.
Can we talk about how you play this with Dad and I? So Dad and I left
Yeah.
not as early as we wanted to, but we got out of there Friday.
You pulled out kind of later than I thought you would.
Yeah. Well, the old man, he has a routine of things he needs to get ready. And when we talked to you, we're there, and we're like,
Yeah.
"Are you coming?" Yeah, I just have to wait for my stuff to dry, and that was like an hour. And then we call you again. You're like, "Yeah, I gotta let my clothes dry." And Dad and I are having a discussion like, "What is he doing up there?" Because you can pack your truck while your clothes dry. Like, there's definitely like a level of hesitancy in what you were doing.
He was being nice to me.
Yeah.
That's
We
exactly
figured that out in the end.
I
Yep.
did my hair. I took a shower.
Oh my! You're pissing me off right now.
Yeah.
I know, but here's the thing. I was so out of it. I was not gonna go. So he's like, "Oh yeah, just take your time. We'll do it." And he's like talking to me all nice. It's like the weirdest thing that's ever
Jared.
happened
Are
in
you
my
sure
life.
that was Jared?
Jared, that's gross.
I'm not
That
going to
might
lie.
have been the drugs.
I might have taken an Oxycontin.
No, he didn't. For the fans listening,
So we finally got packed up. What time did you guys leave?
Oh, it wasn't early. Probably around 11, 12, I would say. By the time I got everything loaded.
We didn't leave till 10 o'clock
no.
You're talking about 11
No.
or 12,
in the day.
right?
Yeah, noon.
Yeah. And then we left about, well, no, it was probably more like 9 o'clock at night. Yeah.
At night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was like the slowest drying clothes I've ever heard of. Must have dried by the old clothesline.
At noon, I didn't get home till about, because I left at noon, so 12:30ish. And I had to wash clothes. Not just mine, I had to wash hers too and pack everything. And then pack the truck, get the trailers going. There was a lot of, I just was scrambling. I had to wash coolers out. I had everything to do in that half a
Holly
day.
wouldn't help you.
I was
No.
worthless.
Say that again, Holly.
I was worthless.
Soundbite it. Let's go.
So,
So, in the meantime, you guys are packing. Old man and I were like going 2 weeks prior. I'm like, there's a lot of antelope in this country. There's a lot of public.
I've
Let's
never
go there.
hunted down there before. The boys had been down there, and Garett was telling me, "Oh, this is where the antelope are. There's a lot of antelope down there." And I kept saying, "Yeah, there'd probably be a lot of people down there, but I'm old and don't know shit, right, boys?"
Yep. We got there and no one was there.
yeah.
No, we get there and it's a large chunk of public and there's like one road through it.
Yep.
And it's like camp.
Everywhere
Camp.
there was a spot where you could
Pull off the road.
pull off the road or see, have an sight vantage. There was a camp.
Not where we camped.
Yeah, it was like sickening. It was like,
So you guys call me and you're like, we're not hunting here.
right.
And there was antelope. There was antelope everywhere. But there was people, and that ruins it.
Right. Well, in my mind, it's kind of romanticized. I like the stock between me and the animal, that game we play.
Yeah,
I don't like
Right.
the like firing line where you just shoot them and then they run by and someone else
Well,
shoots
normally
them.
where we hunted is that we spot a buck and we try to stalk into
Right.
them or ambush them. And this was like you get up in the morning, you climb down in your little ravine, and you hope at light they're there or they're running by you when somebody spooks them. It's just a whole different kind of atmosphere.
Right.
It's what turns people off to hunting, I think.
Well, some people, if you're used to it, I don't think it's a big deal. We're just not what we're used to.
Right.
But I think looking from the outside, you see those articles in the paper where they're like, a herd of elk came onto public land and they got slaughtered by hunters, you know? That's kind of what's happened to these antelope. It's like there's
Right.
a herd of them on public and it's like a firing line.
Right.
And that's what I think like people that have a negative outlook on hunting think about, right?
Right,
Like
right.
they're just out there killing stuff.
Right. It's not that the podcast or the article you read where a guy spots the buck and he spends 4 hours getting close enough to make the shot. It's not that kind of atmosphere at opening day antelope on
No.
public land. Usually isn't.
No, it's like get your buck.
It's a free for all,
And
right?
how we kind of avoid that on opening day is we chase them with our bow so much. On opening day, we usually have one picked out, and so we're there before light, and we're the first ones there.
Right. Or we're using land where there's limited access.
Yeah,
like
we've signed
BMAs
in.
and stuff
Yep.
like that.
Yeah, so you guys are going to find somewhere else to camp. I haven't left Billings yet. All right, well, there's no way I'm going to get to where you're at because you were even going farther. I'm like, this is where I want to hunt with Holly because when I was there bow hunting, I chased a buck with my bow that was a decent buck that either Holly's going to shoot or I'm going to shoot if I can find it. So we drove in at night, and why are you laughing?
Because I was so out of it.
She was out of it. The whole time she's high on OxyContin laying across the seat with her head on my lap. And we had a picture taken of us.
Not.
I don't know what
it had to
flashed.
have.
We
It was
looked
a
it
flash.
up. It's
Okay,
illegal
from
in
my
Montana.
perspective, I was asleep and I was chilling, having a great time. We were listening to music. All of a sudden, this huge ass flash.
It was a flash.
Yeah, and I sat up, freaked out. It was a flash. There's no way.
Could have been lightning.
No, when we drove back through,
It sounds like Jared. Was it period cramp? Did you sleep wrong?
Now you know where he got it from.
Yeah.
It was a flash, and maybe it is just to scare you to slow
if
down.
you look at the pole, it's a pole that comes up and goes across the highway, and it's got like 4 cameras on it that hit the side of your car, and it's got 4 across the top, like security camera looking or like traffic camera looking.
Starting to
things.
sound like you guys might have saw a UFO.
I
Anyways,
might have.
If the truck I was
But-
driving was registered to you, so if you get a picture, Holly's laying across the seat. She was sleeping. Promise.
That sounds a little suspicious.
So, anyways, we drive to where we're gonna go, and where I want to hunt. There's not really a place to camp, so we end up finding a chunk of public land, just a sliver enough that I pull off just outside the borrow pit. Like we're right on the highway. And I'm like, this is a highway in the middle of nowhere. Nobody drives this. We'll be fine. I don't want to set up. I didn't have a tent.
No.
So I thought we can empty the back of the truck, sleep in the back of the truck. Or what we ended up doing, I said, Holly, you just sleep across the front seats and I'll just sleep on the ground outside. So I get my sleeping bag, I get my sleeping pad, I just throw it outside, and I go to bed. Holly goes to bed in there. I will tell you this, I'm not afraid of coyotes. But when they started howling right behind my head, it felt like, and their only thing sticking out of my mummy bag is my face. I'm like, they don't know I'm a big guy. One could come up and bite me right in the face.
I'm going to eat you alive.
No, I was just worried about getting bit. But
Here's the deal. On multiple episodes, you talk about how you can take a bear, not a big deal.
I was zipped in
And
a
now
bag. How was I
now
going to
you're
defend
terrified.
myself?
Of being a coyote chew toy.
I want you to know that your friend Jeremy comments like on all our posts, and it's hashtag Jared Fights Bear.
I still think he could do it.
Oh my God.
If it's a
she must
small
be on the
enough
oxy
black
again.
Time
bear.
to cut her off.
If it's a small enough black bear, why not?
All right, so you're now afraid of
Agreed.
coyotes,
Let's
but you
don't
can
bring
take a
that
bear.
bear talk up.
I'm not afraid of coyotes. I'm afraid of
Getting bit.
Getting bit by. If I could see it
I'm not
coming.
afraid of bears. I'm afraid of getting bit by a bear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Does that make sense? I could fight the coyote. I just was.
Needless to say, he didn't bite you.
It didn't. Anyways, what scared me even worse is I'm sleeping there. Anytime this was the busiest fucking highway in the middle of nowhere, every time a car would drive by, I'd wake up because the headlights would hit me. And I'd look at it, see if they're slowing down,
Is that a
It's
slug
hunter,
on
if
the
it's-
ground?
Yeah. All of a sudden,
A little
I
fat
don't know
toad.
what. I don't know what it was. What woke me up, and I don't know how long it was there, but I woke up about 2:30, and I didn't go to bed till 4, just after 4. All of a sudden, I turn and I wake up, and there's headlights pointed right at us, and they're just on us. And I'm like, oh crap! Is someone gonna come bug me? Is it a landowner? Blah blah blah. So I would like watch it and flip around and maybe sleep for 4 or 5 minutes and flip and look, and it's still there, right? And then I'm thinking, well, maybe there's something nefarious going on. They're going to try to rob the truck because I was kind of sleeping next to wheel wells, so you couldn't really see me unless you knew I was there, right? So maybe someone parked a truck. It looks like it's full of goods, so I'm keeping my eye open, like in case somebody's going to come steal something out of the back of the truck. For 2 hours, that fucker's parked there, and finally it turns out and leaves. And I'm like, that was fucking weird.
How close to you was it?
Close. So I'm like, gave me
Uneasy,
the heebie-jeebies. Yeah.
Plus, you feel vulnerable. You're laying in a tight sleep sack. You're worried the
exactly.
cow's going to bite you. This guy's going to rob you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're crazy.
And my pistol is in the truck with Holly, not out with me. So,
The one high on drugs.
yeah.
Good.
I would have been a lot of help.
So we wait.
Pew, pew, pew. Sorry. I just felt like that was fun to say in the microphone.
Check her white level. Nice.
So what were you guys that night?
We basically where we wanted to go was packed. So we're like, well, I saw some antelope on this section over here 2 weeks ago. Let's go and see if we can find a spot to camp there. And that's what we did. We were kind of pressing dark. I mean, in my mind, we found antelope and we sat down and had like a nice dinner and then we got ready. But no, it was like pressing dark. Okay, this is a little spot we can camp where no one's camped.
That's what I figured, because when I saw where you camped, I was like, Jesus Christ, it struck me as like, this is our option at dark.
That's
we
what
gotta
you
set
said
up camp.
too.
Yeah.
We were driving like, oh, they must have just done this at dark. And
Yeah. Looking for it.
Yeah.
Because antelope were harder to find this year. I thought at least.
Right. Well, where we normally hunt, they weren't.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty easy to find.
Jesus.
So that next morning, old man and I got up and we, in the dark, and left camp or whatnot and walked this section where I knew there was antelope previously. And we sat down and waited for light, and not a sign of antelope anywhere. I mean, there's like poop and tracks and stuff, but no antelope anywhere. So our morning was kind of a bust.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, now we got to join the rat race of everyone else driving around.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your experience?
Well, I slept for another hour, and then I got up and got her going. And I told you the night before too, because she hates mornings. So I was trying to prep her. I'm like, in the morning, this is all you got to do. I'm gonna wake you up really early. You got to put your clothes on. Got to put your camo on, right? And then you can go back to bed. So I wake her up. No, it's a fight. Not a bad one, because I think I prepped her the night before. I'm like, you don't even have to wake up. Come on, let's get your pants on. Let's get this on. I get her all dressed. He
Literally ties my shoes for me. Because
Yeah.
I'm just out of it.
She lays back down. I cover her with a blanket. Then I pack up my sleeping stuff. I change into my stuff. We hop in the truck.
Damn, I want to get on that.
Yeah.
We head out, park where I want to go in.
You know, you give shit to me about every big animal I shot's because of you. But you ain't ever tied my boots for me or got me dressed. So I want that level of service.
Yeah, but there's
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Another side
Maybe
of
not.
that.
We're brothers.
There's a
watch
payment
what you
plan.
live for, buddy.
I take it back.
Yeah.
It's so embarrassing. Nice.
So, anyways, we park and we wait for light. And she's like, I don't want to go. This was a mistake. Well, on the way there, her pain was coming back. She's like, should I take another Oxycontin? And I'm like, you're gonna withdraw from these. You kind of feel hungover. It's not a good feeling. But if you need it to sleep and make it there, you can take one. So she did. Well, in the morning, she was coming off her oxys, so she was not.
This is the
loving life.
first time I wasn't on pain meds. I went from all of those pain meds in my system to just nothing.
Yeah.
And it was the worst I've ever hangover experienced. My head was pounding on a level that I can't even explain. It was horrible. I was bawling before we even started our walk.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
I made a mistake. You talked me into this. Blah, blah, blah.
So then they gave me
know.
600 milligram ibuprofen. So I popped that before we left. But he's like, we won't go on a long walk. So I'm like, I'm not going on a 3-mile walk.
I'm not doing a 3-mile walk.
That was like my cutoff. I'm like, I'm not doing a 3-mile walk. I feel like crap. I'm not doing it. And he's like, that's fine. It's like, perfect. I don't need to eat breakfast. I'll just pop this. We'll be back.
Yeah.
And I think there's a picture of
Have
you.
you ever
then
got a hunt with that?
There's a
Jared?
that
picture.
morning.
Have you
It
ever
was
got
bad.
a hunt with that, Jared? Every
No.
time we hunt with him, like, come on, come here. Who's going to roll the boat? Blah, blah, blah.
I shoot big shit.
I guess you got to marry it
Yeah.
to get that treatment.
Be in the ER
yeah.
the day before. He might be nicer.
In
I doubt
Holly's
it.
defense, last time I took her deer hunting, I took her on a 10-mile walk. So that's like, you can understand.
And I had a talk with him before we left, and I said, "I'm not going with mean Jared. I'll go with
Yeah.
nice Jared, or I won't go again."
I need that talk.
Can I get that like
Yeah.
recorded and I can like play
Yeah,
it in
we
his
can
headphones?
play
There we go. That we just
Maybe
did.
before every podcast episode.
Anyways, we got up to where I wanted a glass. I sit her down, lean her up. She's like, but I can't see. And I'm like, it's okay. You're not supposed to see. Here's your blanket. Take a nap.
It was awesome.
I walk,
Yeah. You got any more?
I
puke
had
bags?
the dog with me under my
Yeah.
blankets, and we were cuddling. It was nice.
So I sit there and I start glassing where this full of antelope, not a fucking antelope to be seen. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a bust. But I'm sitting there. And finally, I pick out some antelope asses clear up on the hillside. There's the herd of them, but they're across the private fence. Well, that sucks. So I'm glassing a little bit longer, thinking I'm going to have to make Holly walk because I can't see anything from here. And I catch a doe and a fawn come out. And I'm watching them for a bit. And the fawn picks his head up and steps out. It looked like a fawn, but it's how the sagebrush was. And they're about a mile away. They're real close to that fence line. I'm just on a section. And it was a buck with her. And I'm like, ooh, that's a good buck. So I'm shooting it or Holly's shooting it, but someone's going to try to shoot this buck today. So I go back to her and I'm like, I spotted a good one.
You're gonna make him puke.
Oh, my word.
I can tell he's not like this with them because every time you're like, I hear.
I'm still in therapy.
we need to get up and we need to try to shoot this buck. You can stay here if you want and I'll go shoot it, or you can get up and you can try to shoot
Can we
it.
flashback this to deer hunting with the old man
Hey.
and there was that buck on the hill?
Don't bring that up.
All right.
A PSD, whatever they call it.
PTSD.
PSTD, whatever. Say
PTSD.
it again, Holly. Say it again. Take it away. Make it go away.
Yeah.
PSTD. I like that.
So we won't bring it up, but that deer was a lot closer than this antelope. We had time.
Okay, you just said I'm not gonna bring it up, and brought it up. So it's
All right.
All right. So you got to get up, Holly. I'll give you a back massage. Just,
Yeah.
we got to go
She's
for
like,
a little walk.
I'll go. I'll do it. No, I'll go. So I pack up the blanket, put it in my pack up the spotting scope, everything. And I'm like, but we have to move because their antelope are kind of fast when they're feeding and walking, And I have a feeling this is the herd buck on this herd that's across the fence. And that night, he must have broke off a doe to breed her that night. And they're on their way back in the morning. So we head out. We bump some deer. I didn't really fast walk you. One thing that helped, though, is I hold your hand.
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
Jared,
can't
you're
take
making
it.
this
We're gonna
sound
take
like
a
such a
break.
love trip.
This
Oh, my
week
God.
on the love episode,
It wasn't so much like
Oh
a
my
loving
God.
thing. It was because I walk fast. It was more,
Dragging.
yeah, I drug her.
Setting the
Yeah.
pace.
That
I
sounds
set
so-
the pace. Yeah. Yeah. True or not true?
It was kind of lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
She found a drop.
Sweaty palms.
She found a
Knees
drop,
weak.
a pretty good one.
It's funny. Sorry.
And anyways, so we go in. I'm like, hey, they're in a mile away on how the hills turn and everything happens. It's hard to tell what it actually looks like when you're there. You kind of have an idea.
even
but-
like binoculars, things look kind of like flat. You don't really see that
2D.
depth.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm like, they're going to be right up here. This is where they were. We pop up. We're walking, looking. Okay, here we go. Nothing. She's got a bullet in her gun. Here we go. Nothing. And I look behind us, and they doubled back and crossed where we came from, and they were up on the other hillside. And they were kind of running, but they not because they saw us. They were kind of rutted up a little bit. And they're going to kind of come over this hill, but they're getting really close to the fence.
That was so frustrating for me. I felt like such crap. I think there was a tear shed at that point. I don't remember exactly, but I remember the whole entire time I was like, I just don't feel good. I don't think I can go any farther. I really don't feel good. I'm gonna puke. I was like stopping and like spitting.
Yeah,
I felt so bad.
She had the hot spits. And so I turn around and they're going to cross the fence. And we got a lot of distance to cover. And I go, all right, Holly, do you want to go after these antelope? And she's like, well, do you think we can make it? And I said, I can make it. If I was alone. Yeah, if I was alone. If you weren't sick, you could probably make it. But I don't know how you're going to do with you being sick. I can leave you here. I can go, And she's like, I'll go. I'll try it. I'm like, all right, but we have to run. As soon as we get behind this hill, we have to run because they're going to cross the fence. And she's like, okay. So we ducked behind the hill. We took off running, got down. We ran down to the bottom, up the other side, running. Like.
It was running. It wasn't.
Yeah, it was running.
And you're running.
Now it's starting to sound like hunting with Jared. No matter what, you always have to run, and then by the time you're taking your shot, you're like.
Well, the thing that really got me is why I ran. Is Jared said, "Well, if you don't go, I'm going to shoot it."
That competition.
And I was like, "Oh, I have to." And I felt like such crap, but I did. So
now I wish you would have. Anyways, we run down. We get to the hill where I think they're going to be, and I set her up. And I found this kind of cool trick on my tripods. What I have is like a little V, and it came with some shitty walking sticks I bought from Walmart. But it threads onto the same thing on top of my tripod. So I have like this tripod rifle rest that I can use. So I got that set up as we were walking up, and I set it down. I put her gun on it, and I said, all right, I think they're right. Oh, and we saw the back of one. But it looks like they're feeding down. They're going to go away. And I'm like, oh, we got to move. We got to get this next hill. And we just go to start to move. And that buck steps out broadside at 99 yards. Doesn't see us. She's like, I got him. Should I shoot? Should I shoot? Well, I hadn't ranged him yet. And I'm like, no. And I ranged him and he looks right at us. 99 yards. I'm like, yep, shoot. Boom. And he goes, like she gut shot him. And I'm like,
well, and I didn't see it because I saw it, but I saw it go like hit right above him because I saw that dirt flash. So I went, oh, I missed him.
Yeah, you said you missed him.
And you went, well, put your gun on him, and you got your gun up because you're like,
oh, fuck, he's gut shot, right? So I threw my gun up. If he takes off running, I'm like, put another one in him.
Yeah.
And she's sitting there.
Do we have that on a t-shirt yet?
all of a sudden, he just kind of tips back on his back legs and falls on his back.
Nice.
And it was like, oh, nice, Holly.
Well, I didn't see it. And so Jared starts freaking out. And I was like, did I get him? And I think Jared has a video of it. And I just start bawling. That was such an emotional day for me. I felt like such crap. And then all of a sudden, like we're running and my adrenaline's so high. And then I got him. It was like, and I'm bawling my eyes out.
Plus, Jared was holding your hand.
Yeah. And I also knew snacks are soon.
So as we're sitting there, the doe is with him. It's just two antelope. All of a sudden, the doe steps out like, what's going on? And I'm like,
perfectly set up.
Yep. So I pull up, boom, I shoot her. You hit it, smack. She takes off running over the hill. And I'm like, oh, God. Holly's got a video of me shooting it.
Yeah.
And in the video, she's like, did you get it? And I'm like, I might have blown off a leg, but I hope it's down.
You heard it slap it though, huh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you can hear it in the video.
You can. So we get up, we kind of look at her buck because it was a little closer than that doe was. And I'm like, okay, we can take pictures of your buck in a bit, but we have to find this doe. Like, look, make sure it's not hop the fence, anywhere. And she walked over the hill and Holly found it. She just kind of ran around and down. So
it wasn't far at all.
Nope. And then it was work time for me. The packs we had dropped where we first started walking up to find them before the run. So I had to go back and get all the packs.
That was probably what, like a mile, a half mile? What would you say it was far away?
Probably a quarter of a mile.
If no way. I ran a marathon that day. Do not belittle it.
No.
Oh, it's period crap.
Probably about 100 yards.
Gosh. No way.
As the crow flies.
Yeah, because that antelope's real steep country. A lot of up and down.
We did run up a hill, Garrett. Okay.
Yeah, so I went and got that. We came back. I thought she was going to gut her antelope. Nope. No interest in it. So got it all done. Well,
Sorry, but
then we have 2 gutted antelope, and it's not like I might have been able to carry 1, but I can't carry 2. No way she could carry 1.
By the way, I don't know if we're skipping this, but that was a damn nice buck she shot.
yeah, thank you.
Flash that picture up
All right.
right here.
In post.
Yeah. So, yeah, she shot a dandy buck.
Yeah,
And
it was a dandy.
I walk up on it. I'm like, holy shit, Holly, this is a head mounter. And then I go, why did I let her shoot it? Like, God dang it. Ugh.
It was a beautiful buck.
It was. It had big old paddles on it.
You're going to have a hard time beating that one.
Yeah.
This is not it. This is a good buck, but hers is not done yet. Still in the freezer.
Yep.
Yeah, really dandy buck. Yeah, we didn't share that. Maybe I'm blocking it out, or
Wow.
there's some jealousy there or something. But really good buck. And I had chased him with my bow a week or 2 before that. So yeah,
And the situation, and it was definitely something you were willing to shoot if she didn't shoot.
yeah.
That's
Wasn't
why I
like
had
it was
to
a
shoot
subpar
it.
buck. I know. It definitely.
And I
was a
remember
top
you
animal.
said something that was kind of an interesting thought. You're like, me and my husband out here, we got a buck and a doe that were together. And we both kind of harvested. It was kind of morbid, but kind of
It was
pretty.
kind of romantic because when we
There
were
we go.
packing it out,
and they were holding it.
So we get them gutted out, and I gotta
it
go.
was such a love trip. But
We didn't bring any food with us, no snacks, because it was just in the morning. You just sit up there. I was gonna have her look over this rock and shoot this buck where they are. Well, turns out we walked a mile, shot him. I walked back out the packs, so I walked a half a mile, quarter, gutted him, and then we had to walk
it's
back.
more than a quarter.
Then we had to walk back to the truck and get the game cart. So we walked back out the game cart, there's mile 3, because 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile.
She didn't even know it. You
She
tricked her.
didn't even know it. We loaded those up,
What level did you?
and she did good. We switched off pretty off and on. It wasn't like one pulled more than the
Adrenaline
other.
helped,
Okay,
huh?
but
Better than morphine.
the game cart, we popped 2 tires.
Yeah, that didn't do
So
well on
when
the
we
cactus.
had to put those 2 antelope on there, it was horrible.
That's the same game cart that had flat tires when Jared shot his elk.
That's 100%
He never
Jared.
fixed them.
Yeah.
It's the same tires. They're all cracked and
Shut
rotten. I don't know why they don't hold water.
weird. They got like a 3-inch gash in them. They'll get you like 25 yards before it's completely flat.
But that's when I said it looked romantic because we strapped them all up and they were almost like cuddling.
hugging.
It was
A
kind
little
of
more
cute.
morbid.
Oh, that's a little gross.
It was cute.
Yeah, you flashed the picture.
It's
of one
cool.
of
Yeah,
them.
Here's a
I'll flash
picture.
it here.
So
I'll
we,
post.
we got it back to the truck, and then I was going to hunt some other spots, which we did. Went and got them in the coolers, did all that fun stuff, and walked some more. Didn't really see any other antelope. I did see a record buck antelope on a private ranch, but that was about it. Then we went and met up with you guys. So how did your day one go?
So our day was a lot less eventful than yours. So that first spot we walked in the morning, as I said, didn't see anything. So then we're like, well, let's go join the rat race, see if we can find some different sections of public, try to find some antelope. And it seemed like every time we would drive through a lot of public and there's no people, and then you start to see people, and then you see like a herd of antelope. So people were like stacked up in the public where the antelope were at. It's kind of a weird experience, I guess. I haven't hunted that way where it's so stacked up like that. Like if there's people stacked up, there's probably a herd of antelope around. But we got off on people camped, not as bad as where we first drove through, but there's a fair bit of camps. And
It was a big piece of public, and we drove in, and there was
Yeah.
a lot of camps. I thought, oh gosh, here we are. And we were driving down the top road, and all of a sudden we looked down clear across the bottom, and I said, what is that? Is that antelope down there? And there was a herd of antelope down there.
yep, just kind of walking, feeding.
And nobody was around them. There were people dragging antelope on the other side, and people didn't see this herd coming out of the bottom. And I go, what do you think? Garrett said, I'll try it. So I pulled over, and Garrett bailed out.
Booked it out there, and I'm like, well, they're feeding this way, I'm trying to get down there. And I didn't get quite as far as I wanted to, but then I ranged. It was 374. Boom. Antelope doe across there.
From the angle, I was up in the road on the truck with the dogs looking down with my binoculars, and from the angle I was at, they were 50 yards crossing below him, and he was just looking at them.
Yeah. It was 370, and they were trotting, right? So
weird
boom, doe.
how it does
I'm
that.
like, okay, well, it's long shot. I'll get solid, kind of leaned on my pack, looking through my scope. Buck, 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 fawn.
And you're looking for a doe.
I'm looking for a doe.
Or a
buck.
big buck.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Buck, buck.
These are small bucks.
Yeah.
It was the
small-
strangest
Sounds like
antelope
chicken.
I ever seen. It was like 8 little bucks or something.
Yeah. I've never seen so many
And then
small
what,
antelope
2
bucks
does
in
and
one.
a fawn.
Yeah. So I didn't get them in that opening because literally it was like the first doe, then the rest was just kind of a mass that moved through there. So I kind of backed up and then went around and come up, and this was even closer.
Yeah.
I kind of popped up, and the last antelope was having trouble going through the fence, so he was kind of spinning around, but the other ones were like standing on the hill, but I couldn't move closer, get high enough to see the antelope because this one was kind of held up. But I think I ranged it. I think it was like 289 where I finally come up on these antelope. And from the truck, it must have looked like I
They
was
went
sitting
behind
on
the
top
hill.
of them.
Yeah, you were about 20 yards from them. I thought one was going to pee on you. But I could tell you couldn't see them. They're right over the hill from you.
So eventually, like I backed up because I didn't want to spook that one, and then I kind of came over, and I can see him feeding, but it's a lot of antelope moving, and then like, okay, well, here's the doe. I found the doe. Oh, that's fine. Okay, I find the doe. Well, she's like walking straight away from me, and then she kind of turns broadside, but it's kind of on the horizon, and then I don't know, maybe I got in my head too much. I'm like, there's a ton of people, I want to, which it's a horizon from my vantage point, but from anyone else's, it wouldn't, But I probably waited a little too long, and then they just kind of fed over the hill. And backed up again. I'm like, well, I'll cut them off, get closer. We bow hunt antelope. You kind of get used to how they move. And and I go to cut them off again, and they were running. And I look, and there's like another guy coming down from this truck, and it was like, I had my shot. I didn't seal
So
the deal.
Garett was heading up out of the bottom, walking unsuccessful. And then my wife, Linda, had called me on the phone, and she said, how's it going? I go, I got to make a decision if I'm going to chew Garrett's ass when he gets up here or not for being a dipshit. She said, don't chew his ass, be nice. So that's the way I went.
Did you hold his hand?
Oh, that's strictly between the two lovers.
So that was a little bit of excitement. I mean, a place where there was packed with people, we still were able to have that opportunity.
Well, it was when you got to the truck, you weren't like disappointed. You were like, not a big deal. I chose not to shoot, and it's probably smart. So then we headed back down the road.
Yep. And put a lot of miles on.
Well, the problem was Garett decided that we weren't really interested in hunting. He wanted to go exploring.
Yeah.
Oh my
started
gosh.
He started looking up land, and we just drove around, place we never been. We saw a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Well, how often do you have that opportunity to drive around the place
Every
you never
fucking
been
weekend
with
that's
your
not
old man?
antelope season.
Well, you never know. We
Yeah.
could have lucked into an antelope.
Yeah. I don't know. I've done that before too, where we have a specific task, but then I kind of get more of, I
Yeah.
want to explore a little
Well, that's
bit.
why we didn't cut a lot of tags.
Yeah.
We did a lot.
We didn't really hunt that hard.
Mhm.
More just checked out new areas.
Opening antelope always bums me out. I hate it.
Yeah.
The people
Because
ruin
of
it
the
for
circus.
me. It's
I
such
like
a
to hunt them
circus.
later in the season too. There's less people. They're spookier, but you don't deal
You
with
get
that.
more of that one-on-one action rather than
Right.
like this herd that's been shot at and 4 other people are going to jump out and try
They
to.
hear a
Yeah.
vehicle or see a person
Yeah.
run.
Yeah. So day 2, we ended up meeting up with you guys. It was kind of off because your truck broke down and we were going to meet up and it didn't work. So I went out and I'm like, well, I want to walk this piece. So I went and walked a piece and you were going to come walk it with me, but then you didn't want to spook it. So you guys just headed back to camp.
Yeah, we kind of rolled up.
Our truck overheated,
Yeah.
and we nursing it back, and we finally get a hold of Jared. Jared calls looking for us and like, we're broke down. Well, where are you at? Well, we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
He couldn't even really get to us, but then we figured out we were just low on liquid, so we let her cool down, poured liquid in it, and we nursed her back to town. And that's when we met up with Holly taking a nap in the truck, and Jared
Jared
nowhere to be
just went
seen.
and got me ice cream.
Did he tuck you in?
No,
No, not that time.
but Forge and I went on a walk, and
But when we roll up, Holly's sleeping in the truck. And then,
Reading.
or reading, very important reading materials.
oh, and you
was.
guys called us before, and you're like, "Did you get anything?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "What did I say? I got a doe." And
Yeah.
Holly's like, "No, I didn't get anything."
We pull up. As soon as I saw
But
her
we know
face-
that's a Mason
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
right? And they got something probably.
Yeah. As soon as we roll up, I see Holly's face. I'm like, she got something. I can
No,
tell.
that's exactly what you said. You got something. I said, yeah. I couldn't hide it. But I was so excited. I wanted to show it to him in person.
That was nice.
So she shows me this antelope. And
Not
the
in person.
No,
on the
just a
phone. Yeah.
picture of it. And the only thing I could think is that mother. He downplayed the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
He's like,
He sent his dad and his brother
I'm
off
on a wild goose chase.
on a wild goose where he knew it was going to be a mess. And then he had this little antelope herd, this nice buck spotted, and he drug his wife out of the hospital so she could go shoot it over.
Why'd I
better
do
way.
that, Holly?
That's what men do.
That's what
That's
lovers
right.
do.
Yeah, 'cause you're all loved up.
Well, here's the deal. He played it off. Yeah, there's a decent buck, you know. Okay, well, there's a ton of decent bucks, but when I saw that buck, I'm like, that mother. He downplayed it, and then he's like, "Oh, I didn't downplay. I told you there was a buck
Yeah.
over there."
In my defense,
There's no defense.
Yeah,
I am notoriously bad at field judging antelope.
Yeah,
They're
right.
It's hard
Yeah.
to do. Like, it's a decent buck.
Don't let him pull
yeah.
that shit.
because
In my defense,
that's what lovers do. That's your new motto.
it's gross, Jared.
Yeah. So, you guys left, went back to camp. I finished my walk about dark, and we headed. In that drive to camp, you guys were 70 fucking miles away.
Well, we weren't that far to start with, and Garrett said, "We'll make them pay." So we drug the camper another 50 miles.
It was a haul.
And then you're like, there's a cut across road you could take. So I'm driving on the highway.
This cut across was
I-
like straight washboard,
Yeah.
like dirt
I'm
road.
like, Jesus.
Garrett
my
said
kidney
that's the best
stones
thing
start
we
hurting.
did was take the cut across. Saved us a lot of time.
Well, we're driving down the cut across road, and this has been on a few episodes. I love spotting snakes. It seems like
Oh yeah,
driving, see a snake, get out and see what it is. So I'm driving, and I'm going probably 50, and all of a sudden here's a snake, but I'm going too fast to stop before it, so I drive past it. Well, I've got this little trailer that you cannot back up with, because as soon as you back up, it jackknifes.
And you
And
forward.
you got a
see it. Yeah.
super
It's behind the
long
tailgate.
truck, so
Yeah.
it's hard.
Yeah, so I just park, and I hop out, and I go running over to it, and Holly's like, don't pick it up, don't bring it, don't pick it up. Well, I get over to it, and it's just a piece of
you
a tire.
picked it up.
So I pick it up. Well, it's dark. She doesn't know, but she sees I pick something up, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's cool." And I'm running up to the truck, and she just cracks her door. Don't bring it here. Don't bring it here. Well, right before I fake trip, and I toss that piece of tire in the truck.
Oh my gosh, I screamed so loud. I was so scared and instantly went like this. Well, that tire hit me and cut my hand up
got
so
the
bad.
wire.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So the snake bit her.
She thought a
But
snake
it was
bit her.
perfect. It looked like the two little fang marks. I'm like, oh my god, not good.
So hours before, he was the best husband in the world, and now he just killed you
He
with a
threw
snake.
a damn snake on you.
Yeah, what the heck?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That was the highlight of his trip. No, seriously, I was so scared though.
So we hopped back in and headed to camp, and it was nice to not sleep on the ground in the open. Oh, but I forgot to tell you about that truck that watched us with the headlights
Oh,
all night. I was
right.
freaked out about. During the day, we came back through that way, heading to you guys. There's a pull off there where you can park and throw your trash in and shit. So that's that's just where he parked.
He was
This
just
whole
probably
time
taking
was
a
nothing.
nap.
All night I thought he was
Some conspiracy
Yeah,
theory.
there's no shoulder there. You can't he had to be no, it was a parking area, so I felt kind of dumb. But.
Yeah.
Well, how did day 2 start?
How did day 2
Was
start?
it day 3? Day 2?
No,
You slept.
day
You
2.
slept. We all slept in the pop up, which
Yep.
was a lot better than the ground
I slept
sleeping.
in.
Oh yeah, that
Holly
was
slept in.
nice.
Garrett went crane hunting.
Garrett went crane hunting.
Oh, Daddy
Yeah.
took him out and dropped him in the dark.
Yeah.
Yep. And so,
I had a napadoo.
to our listeners, I've been trying to get a sandhill crane, the old ribeye of the sky. Had some spotted. They're landing on this pond, so the thought is I'll get in before light, like army crawl through it, wait till light.
This pond's
shoot
out
one.
in the middle of nowhere. There's
Yeah.
no cover.
Yeah. So I get in there in the dark, and I take my time. I don't know how many, like an hour before dark I was there.
Oh, yeah. Dropped up an hour
So I
before dark.
like crawled slow, and got in close. Just there's not a lot of cover to get to the pond, but there's a little bit of reeds on the pond. And eventually got in there, and there's geese and ducks right in front of me, and there's maybe no cranes here. And then I can hear them start talking. I'm like, oh, this is going to be good. And it slowly gets light, and there's no cranes, except on the part of the pond that I can't hunt. I can hear them squawking. And I'm like, mother. I'm like, well, I'll sit here till they fly. Maybe they'll fly over. They never did, but that was the closest I've come to getting to one of those now. So still enjoyable moment, even watching the sunrise over the water and the waterfowl interact. And it's a cool experience. All the noises and stuff is kind of the prairies coming to life.
I slept in. It was good.
Yeah. Dreaming about holding hands and what else you guys been doing.
Was this a hunting trip or a honeymoon they were on?
Right now,
Hey, that's a sore subject.
you can say what you want, but Holly and I got 2 antelope in the truck.
Yeah.
You guys
'cause you
got
sandbagged
goose
it.
egg.
Sandbag.
Sandbagged us.
It was
Make
too-
a t-shirt out of that,
Yeah,
sandbag.
sandbagger.
Anyways, so you guys get back. No crane. We pack up. We're just going to go for a drive from camp for a bit.
We're going to drive where
Where he snuck those antelope the day before.
because there was a lot of antelope in that area. So we head over there, and we're in front.
Mm-hmm.
And
driving.
it's dry and dusty.
Yeah.
Everywhere you drive, you leave a big old dust cloud.
Yep.
And driving, and then we weren't driving, what was it, 10, 15 minutes from our camp?
Not even
that.
You were
Close
like
to that.
a mile away from camp, mile and a half, it seemed like.
Oh,
We're going down this gravel road and big old dust cloud, and Jared and Holly are behind us. And I look over, and there's an antelope standing there. And I go, that's an antelope. And I go, is that state? He goes, this state. And what happened there? I don't remember.
yeah. This state. Yeah, so he slows down, and I just bail out.
I
right?
didn't stop hardly, and you got out.
And got off the road, got through the borrow pit, and she's still standing there.
Well, I
looking at
looked
me.
in the mirror, and there's just a big cloud, and I can't even see Garrett. And all of a sudden, it starts dissipating. I see Garrett go over off the road onto the property there, and
Boom, shoot,
boom.
down, instantly down. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, fuck, was this state? So I like put my gun back, because it happens so fast.
So I back up, and I go, is this state?
Yeah, I look at my phone. Of course, it's state. It's just in that rush. It was like,
yeah, it's the same thing when you're driving down the road and you see a cop.
Yeah.
You tap your brakes.
Right.
You might not be doing anything wrong.
right, but
just
you're like,
that
I gotta
reaction.
check, right?
Your
Yeah.
mind works
Because it
that
was
way.
not even
Yeah.
30 seconds that I shot this antelope, and it was like, I gotta double check. I
And
gotta.
Jared and Holly right behind us.
It happened so fast. We're driving and we have to stay super far behind you guys because that dust will it's horrible. So we start pulling up and all of a sudden
And
we're
I
like,
look over, I'm like,
is
there's
that Garrett?
I go, there's a dead antelope right there. I'm looking around. I'm like, is there other hunters here? And I go, did they just shoot that?
Is that Garrett right there? Wait, did you even see me out of the truck? We're like, no.
We pull up and I'm like, did you shoot that? Yep. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was
happened so
So
fast.
fast.
And I think that's how come it was successful. Is because it was so fast.
I think the dust cloud was your camouflage. I really
allow
believe
me
that.
to get across that road.
Get
in
across
the
the road,
burrow pit.
across the burrow pit.
Did you have your Numa sweatshirt on? You were invisible.
Yeah,
It might have been.
that and my blaze orange vest. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah. Make sure to say that.
So we just went out there not even a couple hundred yards, and
it was 77 yards. I
Was it?
ranged it from where I shot.
cleaned the antelope, and
Yeah,
the dogs had fun. Quench jumped a Sharpie.
Forge jumped in some water somewhere.
took a swim in the
Yeah,
pond.
Ford found a pond. It was quite.
they were
the
just kind of
adventure.
surreal because it was like this piece of bare nothing ground that no one would ever.
It came alive.
Yeah, just happened to be right time. Everything was right.
So then Garrett was happy. He got his
Yeah,
antelope.
pressure's off. Let's go pheasant hunting.
Well, I've got
Oh my gosh.
I've got some antelope at camp we left, and I have some pieces of the antelope in the cooler in the truck, right? Because I didn't have enough room in one cooler. Well, then I have your antelope now in the truck, and it was like I've got 2 antelopes, but my tag's with the other half of the meat. I probably should go grab my tag.
Right.
So it's, you know what I
Right.
mean? So if we get pulled over, I'm not trying to explain this way.
I got meat over here, but here's my tag cut. Yeah.
So you guys kind of chilled. We ran back to camp because it's only like a mile away. Grabbed the stuff, came back, and we went and drove and back to the circus where you were. And it wasn't as bad,
No.
but I still didn't like it.
Yeah.
No.
I just wish you could have experienced that first morning with us or that night. That was.
And Holly can attest to this. We're driving through, and I'm like, nope. No, I'm not hunting.
He
here.
was
We're-
getting more
I'm
mad
like,
and more
oh,
mad.
geez.
the
That
more
was nothing
time.
Yeah.
compared to the first place
We
you
gotta
sent
get
us.
outta here.
That first place you sent us, there was a cop on or a camp on every hill, and then when we were leaving, there was cars coming in like there was a parade.
Yeah.
Just got hammered.
So that place we found that you went to that you thought was bad, it was like a relief.
Yeah. It was like, oh, this isn't bad. Just because our perspective
Jesus.
was so warped from the
So
night before.
then we decided, you know what? There's no hunting happening here. Let's
Right.
head up differently. Let's pack up camp and just pull it with us. So we headed back to camp. You guys tore down the trailer. I skinned your antelope, quartered it, got it in a cooler.
Yeah, and we took a time lapse of that moment. I'm interested to watch it back. What happened? Did I get the camper folded up first, or did you get the antelope skinned out?
Camper folded
Was
first.
it?
Because you watch it, you're watching me skin the antelope, and all of a sudden the camper's
Oh,
flat.
it's flat.
But if you go back and watch, you can see it come down.
You didn't happen to see a flashlight somewhere in the ground.
Oh, I haven't looked.
But
for it.
what we did see is at the end,
Was Joe.
Joe.
At one point, Joe becomes like the captain of camp, and he stands there. And I don't know how long
Like
you were
shit's
standing
happening
there.
all around
and
him.
you
In
start,
the
like,
time
pointing.
lapse, it's like he doesn't move. He just like,
Probably after I got the truck loaded. The back
Maybe.
of my truck loaded.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but it was pretty funny. It looked like you were the captain of camp for sure.
So we packed up, we headed out, and we drove and drove and drove, and we drove down some roads that I'm sure Dad was like, "Where the fuck is Jared taking us?"
Meanwhile, my pop-ups
we had-
probably rattled apart.
Yeah.
from all
Yeah.
that.
Every time
washboard.
we open a pop up, there's less. It's less
Parts.
intact.
less attached. Yeah,
It's like just start throwing parts in the back of the truck.
like the door just sits in there now. It doesn't hook.
Yeah, and then Dad, he's like, "Let's get the fuck out of here. There ain't no antelope
I
anywhere."
never say they afford.
And I throw my binoculars up, and I look, and I go, "There's antelope." They were
We
wet.
were in the middle of some weird shit. Or it
Yeah.
could have been in Iraq, and he found an antelope just to irritate me.
It was too far away, probably on private, but I had to prove a point, I guess. God was with me. Well, then we turn, and I look. I spot 2 more antelope, and I'm like, that's on land we can hunt. So we headed down there. We were going to sign into the box. As we're pulling up to the box,
Me and Garrett and I were in a truck in the front, and we drove toward the box, and looked out in the field, and there's 2 doe antelope, probably
Standing there.
150 yards off the road.
Yeah,
Just standing there
not
looking.
hunting.
Not even that.
No,
No.
no.
But we had to go sign in first. So we go to the box, and Jared and Holly pulling behind us. I go, "Do you see those antelope?" And Jared's like, "What antelope?"
I drove right by him.
He's in love land. He wasn't in
Okay.
hunt
Well,
mode.
she got her
Oh
buck.
my
Yeah.
god!
He got her buck.
He
It's
got
just
a doe.
dad needing
Yeah.
the
Keep
doe.
in mind, we're signing in to go to antelope that I spotted.
Jared
So-
got his doe. Garrett got his doe. Dad didn't get any doe.
Do you feel bullied right now? I feel bullied.
And so
when you're at the top, there's a lot of haters.
That's
we're
fair.
like, there's these 2 deer or 2 antelope right here. Let's go get them. Let's load up whatever because we have dogs. So let's switch the dogs in the
Yeah.
vehicle.
We're trying to get them all the dogs in one truck and get the hunters in another truck.
And it wasn't a smooth operation.
No.
And at one point, those antelope are standing there, and you pull up your binoculars, and you're like leaning on your hood. You're looking at them.
Me and Garrett are in the truck ready to go, and Jared's leaning on front truck looking at the antelope.
I don't know if it's just my perspective, but it was like 5 minutes. It's like,
20.
yeah, 20 minutes. We're like, let's go. Like, what is he doing? He's like looking at him, and then like, you're probably checking to see if there's a herd with him, if there's a buck with him.
Yep.
But in my mind, it's like, that's what we want. Let's go. And you're like, doo doo doo. If the roles were reversed, you
would've-
would have been screaming and chewing my ass.
Therapy.
Probably.
So
PTSD.
But anyway,
Times 2.
this is bringing up a lot of like emotions and mixed
We get
feelings.
it going. We
I
turn
gotta find
around.
someone else to hunt with.
we turn around and the antelope start running, but not far.
So we flip around again, try to get a different angle. Holly and you jump out, and Garrett and I keep driving. What was that when you guys jumped out?
We did our belly crawl up to a fence, and just as we were getting on the fence, they started milling around and they started running, and just didn't work out.
I struggled.
How'd you struggle?
I tried to put my scope up. I have my scope caps on.
We've all been there.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah?
I tried, though.
What went through your head when they ran off?
Jared's going to be really mad. And then
Not
here's
this day. Honey, don't worry about it.
here's
Precious.
what was bad. I knew I was even more scared because I walked away. Me and Joe walked away, and I look at Joe. I was like, I don't know where my scope caps are. And so I had to go back and find them, and I couldn't find them. It was Joe that was like, I think this is where we were at. And then they were there. I was so scared because that's a brand new scope. I had a lot of fear. But it's fine.
Well, I will say this. I was not the one that got mad. Garrett was pretty heated.
What were you mad about? Because we didn't get them?
Probably like the initial of Jared leaning on his hood, looking at these animals.
And that was
it was like
kind of
I was already revved up, and then it should have been a done deal.
those antelope ran off, and Garrett goes, "What the fuck were they doing?"
Whoa.
Jared, watch
And
your
then on
mouth.
top of that, as I'm down like a 2-track with my pop up,
And you can't
and I
back it up.
can't see it, so I can't back up. It took me like 20 minutes. So it was a combination of things.
Well, it was weird. Me and Holly were calm and collected.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. And then I just remember they started running off like, just didn't work out. Joe was so nice. If it was Jared, you would have been like,
It
Yeah.
wasn't a monster buck like he shot, though.
Yeah,
That would have been
That would've
different.
been
that would have
bad.
been different. I would have.
Dad and Holly wouldn't have been bailing out. Jared wouldn't have been looking at it. It would have been go time.
What do you think about those, Holly? Is that a good doe for
Well,
you?
then, so we're done. We're done with
that was
that.
a nice
And
rendition
our
of it.
mind goes back to the original antelope.
The
that
original
now
two.
we're a half hour or an hour off of our sneak on the antelope
Yep.
Jared had spotted. So we head down the road, and guess who's in the truck with Dad? The bird hunter. And what does he see? A flock of huns on the road.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
I drug my bird dog through all this. Here's a flock of huns. Why not?
I'm like, all right.
I said, go get him, son.
So he does, and he wounds one. He gets one, and then I see you shot twice because you got a double barrel.
Mm-hmm.
One drops. Your second shot, you hit one, and it looked like it flew off, but I was watching him, and then
me and Garrett didn't even
you
notice.
didn't see him
Yeah,
drop.
he kept
You should
flying.
have been in the truck when this was going on. Jared's like, we're supposed to be antelope hunting, and these guys are getting out
There's
there
the
doing this, and I
Jared.
can't believe
There he
it.
is.
Oh,
And then
now the
that's
dogs
half
are
the
getting out.
satisfaction.
and then you go, boom, and one drops, boom, and I'm watching, and that wounded one drops way farther out, and I'm like,
that's good for
fucking
the
wounded
dogs.
a goddamn bird. Now we gotta go find it. So I take Forge, and we walk over there.
Yeah, but meanwhile, you don't say, hey, I think you hit that bird. Send your dogs. I don't know if you wanted your dog to get it or what. But you're over there walking. We're like, what's Jared doing?
I was yelling at him. I'm like,
Yeah.
you killed a bird. You got a wounded one.
No.
Witness, I was there. That happened.
Yeah, I was. You must
Yeah,
not
but
have
you
heard
guys
me.
are lovers.
Yeah. Probably all telepathic.
So we found that bird, which feels good.
Oh, Flux found that
Yeah,
bird.
I'll give Flux credit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Forge was not super birdy, and Dad brought up a good point. He walks with me when I big game hunt. And he just got to stay next to me and quiet.
Right.
And shifting that gear into I have to
Right.
find
How does
birds
he
is
know?
hard
Right.
to.
And then he wasn't there when the birds flushed and shot.
No,
You
he
just were out
watched
looking
them.
for it.
He
So-
watched them.
Yeah, but he's probably thinking we're antelope hunting.
So when I let him out of the truck, he took off running to where they flew.
No, did he?
Yeah. And I had to call him back. But yeah, your dog found it, which was good. We hop in the truck. We drive about 50 more fucking yards. Another group jumps.
Hey, Garrett, you want to get them?
Why you-
sure,
why sure,
Dad.
I
So he fucking does that.
It's icing on
Was
the
there-
cake. the
was there
fact that
three-
I
Was
know
there
you.
3 groups?
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
you were in the truck screaming.
I was.
I knew it.
We knew you were
We're-
too.
It
and
was
then-
so bad.
We were laughing our asses off.
The third one, I don't even think it was Huns. I think it was Sharpies. It might have been.
No, it was Hans.
Anyways, the third group, he jumps out to, and
Well,
I'm like,
here's the thing. He goes, if this is a freaking Sharpie, I'm going to be so mad. So he's this whole time. It was like,
Where's the love for Joe and Garrett?
Just
Where's
love
holding
for
our hands?
yeah. So you stop, and I just drove around you. I'm like,
you
fuck
were done.
this. Yep.
I laughed.
So we headed over to where we want to walk.
Dang, those huns are good eating, Garrett.
They are. When's the last time you ate a hunt?
I don't know, but I'll eat one tonight just thinking of it.
Jesus, hope it tastes bad. But we park. We're going to walk into the antelope finally, right? And we just saw 2 does, but there could be a herd. Who knows?
They're kind of over
2
on the roll.
does probably an hour and a half ago now.
Yeah.
And they're way off. It's not like you saw them
No,
close.
it was probably a little over a mile walk.
Right.
Well, we're walking, and it's just like a flat plain.
I
And
want to
they're
tell
up in
you
the
one
hills.
thing about this place. This is not pertaining to him going to pick on me, but this was some cool-ass rocks in this place. Every step there was almost like you wanted to bend. I'm a rock guy anyway, but I wanted to pick up something and look at it. But I stayed concentrating on Jared's heels and followed him until I realized he's walking towards nothing to get nothing. Brought me back to the days when you said, what are we doing? Just walking and looking?
That's what we were doing.
Well,
It was a long walk.
antelope clear far off. We have a fiasco. I chase some birds, irritate you a little bit. Now we're coming to the antelope, right?
Yep.
We're like, what, almost a mile in, and we're finally getting the hill where they were on the other side of it. All right, it's getting good. And the old man's like, I'm done. I'm good here.
We're like 3/4 of the way there. And he's like, are we walking over that hill? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, I'm done. I'm here. I'm not. And,
So
Both
we're
of them
on this
in
15
unison go like this.
we're on this 15-mile trek to shoot a doe antelope. 15 miles to shoot a doe antelope. Well, who does that shit?
who walks 3/4 of the way and quits?
Finally
It
get
was
to like
not
the
very
hill.
cool.
where
You know
they're
what?
gonna
It might be my eyes and my knees, but I was under the impression that those antelope were where I was going to turn around. I'd made to where you told me we were going.
Oh. They're right in these hills. And we got like a couple 100 yards from the hill. And you're like, I'm not going any farther. I'm like,
I don't know. It might be my attention span or my hearing, but I felt like
It's
they
so
betrayed
funny.
me. But anyway, we went up the hill and
We got him up. The
we
hill.
went over that hill, and holy shit, was there nothing.
no, they were gone.
It was a beautiful
Were they
walk.
ever there? I think the kids were like, let's take the old man for a 2-mile walk.
Take him out to pasture, but he made it back.
That's the first thing. It started getting dark without a headlamp, but I got bad knees. I headed out. I left him.
He did. So Holly
Thank
and
God
I,
Mom called me partway back so I didn't cry.
We went on a longer walk though.
yeah, we split up.
Yeah.
And we
She went
watched
this
the
way.
sunset.
This is another love thing that happened. Me and Garrett are sitting on the hill.
Holding
All right,
You want to
hands.
talk about that?
Fair enough.
Can I flash that picture here?
No,
Fair
wait a minute. It started with holding hands and all this mushy kishy shit.
Yeah.
And then we heard about the photography on the head on the lap in the truck.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting there looking. I go, what the hell are they doing over there? Jared's got his pants down to his ankles, and Holly's sitting there looking at him doing something. I said, Garrett, do not film that.
This sounds so bad. You made it sound so bad. His underwear
Just a minute. I got to plug my ears.
Your discretion advised.
had chafed through, so he had holes. He was getting blisters on his inner thighs.
Hey, Jared,
chafing.
let's put a picture of that.
And so
I even said, I go, they're going to think this looks weird. No,
it
you
did-
said that.
It did look weird because I was handing you
Moleskin.
moleskin to put on your thighs.
I don't
and
know
you
what
were
they
like,
call it nowadays. When I was a young man, it wasn't called that.
It looked bad because I was kind of,
I'm sorry about that. I was X-rated.
You guys had a very different trip than Dad and I had. We
Yeah,
were like
and-
a father-son bonding, and this was like a honeymoon.
That's why I left early.
extravaganza.
That I ain't watching that
Yeah.
shit.
We watched the sunset. It was beautiful.
I'm sure you did.
She watched the sunset. I was looking for antelope.
Me and Forge. I took pictures of Forge
Yeah.
with the sunset.
You got some good ones.
Yeah, I
Forge
did.
with the sunset.
Those are on our Instagram right now.
So then we walked back, and I saw Garrett. You left Dad,
Yeah.
and you walked a bit. So I'm like, oh, we'll go see where Garrett's at.
That's the thing about antelope hunting, though, or even hunting. It's like, well, I can just get over this hill, I can see this. Or I can just get over this hill, I can
You
see
know what?
this.
That was the thing when I was in clear up into my 40s, maybe my 50s. But now it's not about that.
How old are you
It's
now?
about
70?
You give me a spot and you
We
go
saw
and
that.
I get there and you lie to me,
It's done.
trick me once, no more.
For a doe antelope. I've never
I
watched this
feel
spot
like
for
they
a doe.
betrayed me. That's hilarious.
My God.
So I get to where Garrett was.
I did that
no
to when
Garrett.
they were young.
He's
Full
so
circle.
bad.
Full
Yeah.
circle.
That's awesome.
No Garrett. We go, no dad. So Holly and I walk out. And Holly
And
at
Jared
this
goes,
point,
do you think they left us?
they
Damn,
100%
an opportunity.
Did.
And then
does
what
that?
was going on with you? You were having like a mental breakdown coming out.
Imagine
I
that.
was not.
Yeah, something was. Was it your feet killing you, or something was? Oh,
I don't know. I don't think
yes,
because
I was laughing and it was making you mad. You were having acid reflux for the first time in your life.
In my life, because I had taken all that ibuprofen and I had the worst pain ever. And once again, I'm like, Jared, why do you think this happened? I've never had this. I don't know what this is. I thought I was dying. And he's like, I don't know. It's just acid reflux. You're just getting old. How old are you? What the heck?
Well, I have it probably every other night.
I know, but you have that GERD thing, and I don't have issues like you.
Yeah. So it was like the world's ending for acid reflux first time she had it. So I thought
Oh my God,
it
it
was funny.
was so bad though.
It's kind of like when someone gets a cramp. You know that
Yeah.
pain, so you can kind of laugh at them.
Exactly.
It felt like he was like, it's just menstrual cramps, huh? That's what it felt
Trouble
like
in
again.
paradise, huh?
So
Yeah.
we finally make it out. Well, as we're walking, I'm like, I wonder if they left, pulled the truck out and left. And then we'd hear something. And I go, that's the truck leaving, Holly. They left us. We got to go.
Did you give her a hard time?
Giving her
The
a
whole
hard
time, and we couldn't see anything, and it was dark, and he brought us in the wrong direction. That was weird.
Oh, Jared, let's hear about this. Mr. Direction, what happened?
I shot a little high. I wasn't necessarily wrong direction.
It was wrong.
At what point
Wrong.
did you start crying or get worried, Jared?
No,
Okay.
He was worried about Forge though, because at one point Forge couldn't find where we were.
that was weird.
What?
It was dark and I didn't have a headlight on or anything. I could see Forge just kind of in my peripherals, and he was going to my right, and I'd call him and he'd run this way, and I'd call him and he'd run this way, and he
You're
couldn't
kidding.
really, he could hear
That
my
is
voice.
weird.
Right. So finally I took out my phone to make
Well,
light, and
and
he could
it
see
was
it.
so bad because all that cactus. He kept getting cactus in his
There's
paws,
a
and
ton
Yeah.
of cactus.
it was just
Yeah.
not fun for him. But
And we were in the middle of these cows, and it was dark, and they
Oh.
were mooing, and it was like he just couldn't find me.
chaos
Yeah, it was weird. He's done that once before
on our engagement trip.
on our engagement trip. When I left her to go find water, and I did that big loop,
Yeah, I
she
think
got
we
up.
talked about it on that engagement episode.
We did.
Too.
Forge took off running to find me, and he was smelling. He just took off. No one could call him. Well, I was yelling his name, and he could hear me, but
and the
he was
wind
just.
was so bad. So
but he
couldn't
wasn't
place
coming. He was just sniffing. So I call him, and he would find my keep running.
And just run going away from you because you
Yeah.
circled.
Yeah. So no,
finally,
we
he just
popped
yelled
out.
sit, and he stopped.
Yeah.
You know,
on
that's the
engagement
thing.
trip.
Not to change subject, but Flux is the same way. My dog doesn't seem to do that, but like if I open the door and Garrett's gone, he jumps out and he gets on Garrett's scent and he runs. You got to stop him every time he tries to find
Really?
Garrett. He gets on his scent. It's weird.
He's a weird dog.
That's a whole other
Tell
episode.
that to the side. What was it? The roofing guy?
The sprinkler guy.
Sprinkler guy. Whole another story.
Oh my god!
So, do we have time?
Yeah, go for it.
It was yesterday, getting ready for work, truck door open, garage doors open, dogs in the front yard. Breeze in here, I'm like barking aggressive, right? Flux, run down, run out of the house, and there's a guy walking up my driveway, and Flux is like running at him, hair up. I'm like, oh fuck, here we go. And I get there in time, and Flux is fine. You know, he's happy, kind of like going between the guy's legs. And he's like, is this address? Looking for this address. He's like looking at his phone. Meanwhile, Flux just pisses all over this guy's leg.
Photo of that.
I don't have a photo
Are
of
you
that.
serious?
But he didn't notice because he was like looking at his phone trying to find this address. So I was like, oh yeah, no, that's right over there. I just turned around and walked back because what do you say to a guy? Like, my dog just pissed off. So I don't know. But yeah, so I imagine he probably got in his truck and was like, fuck, it smells like piss.
Why's my sock wet?
Either that or he's like, holy shit, I pissed myself.
Yeah. So, weird dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a weird dog. We good with the birds.
So at that point, it was dark. We got back and just pitched camp where we had parked.
No, yeah, but talk about the supper we had that night.
Wait, can we talk about pitching camp?
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, flip around here, we'll back it in there. And Joe's like, oh, pull up a little bit. We'll be fine. We'll be flat. I'm like, no, it's perfect here. Set it here.
There was a flat spot where there was no vegetation. It was like a hard pan. I was going to pull up, get it flat.
No, it's flat here. It's good. Set it all up, get it half sprawled out. Look out, there's a giant cactus right where the door's at. I'm like, I should
Parked
listen
the
to
trailer
old
right
man.
where there's a cactus right in front of the door.
I dug it out.
Yeah.
For
But-
dinner, I had bought some cheap round steak, I think. But when you're walking all day and doing stuff, any steak really tastes good.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh, the
that
night
was
before,
very
Jared
good.
made the best hamburgers of my life.
Yeah.
Smash burger.
Her 4-mile walk, she really enjoyed that. Those hamburgers.
But we had steak and asparagus, Jared grilled, and then we had antelope loin.
Backstrap.
Backstrap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something cool. Like you went out, you killed it, and you're eating it out in the prairie.
And that tasted like so good.
Yeah.
So
Not
good.
antelope at all. And there's some things I think we learned because we've
Right.
had some of the other antelope since then. They were pretty
Normally,
gamey.
antelope's one of our favorite meats, right?
Yeah.
It's not gamey. Everybody's, antelope stinks. It's gross. And we've never really experienced that. But this time we did a little bit. And
Yeah.
we think it's maybe the way we cared for it when we had it in coolers and stuff.
I think because we were worried about it getting too hot. I think if we were going to do it again, I'd leave it. I'd skin it and let it hang in the air.
Get the hide off. If you're going to pack an antelope in a cooler, it can't have the hide. I think we got the hide and it got moist in there and water marinated, got that hide into
Yep.
some of the meat.
And then I think when you leave meat in the air, you're going to lose a little bit of it.
Right.
But it naturally will get like a skin on it.
Protected
Crust,
skin.
yeah.
And then you're good.
Right?
Seals
it.
It does. It seals it. Now, we were driving on dirt roads and stuff where you would need to pack it in something. But when you pack it in a cooler and that meat stays wet, I think it absorbs smells
Oh, I
and all
agree.
that, right?
Then if you put a hide in there, that's the stinkiest thing
Yep.
on an antelope.
Yep.
So never pack an antelope in a cooler with a hide. Never.
No,
Never again.
And I think that's where we made a mistake. So Garrett's was good. What
Right.
we
Yeah.
had of it.
But talk about I felt like I was living on the prairie. I mean,
that
we were
was
kind of
cool. That was a cool spot though, kind of down in a little holler almost.
yeah, we
no
were
brush.
nomadic though. Like one night we
Oh,
were here, and then that second night, or maybe it was the third night, where we camped down in that.
Right.
It was like this is just so cool. You could just kind of feel how the pioneers did it in
You're
the
like-
middle of nowhere.
Or
Eating off the
gypsy, if you will.
land.
Just
Yeah.
just traveling, living where you're at.
Yeah.
The sunset or sunrise was pretty. That's all I remember.
That was a pretty sunrise that
It
next
was.
morning. And I had that's why I didn't see those antelope. Because you guys were looking to the left of the road for those 2 doe antelope. I looked to the right and there was a pond
Could
full
you
of
see
ducks
that
and
pond
geese.
from the road? I didn't know you could.
Yeah.
I was kind of focused. I was right where the Huns
how
were at.
else would we have known it's there?
Well, when you shot the birds, I thought that next day, that first time you walked down there, you saw
No.
the pond. Oh,
And so
I didn't know that. There was a pond
we
with some
decided-
mallards on it. Right?
mallards, yep. And I'm like, we could go jump shoot some ducks. So we got up in the morning, packed up, we headed out, stopped. Garrett and I walked around into this pond, and we walk over the dam, and they're sitting on the water, and the duck jumps, boom, I shoot him, nothing. Turn to the goose that's right next to me, boom, shoot that, nothing. Boom, shoot again. Then I got to throw more shells in, and we didn't kill anything.
I was up on top. I didn't go down, and it looked like the great migration of the birds from the north.
Yeah, there's a lot of birds sitting there.
And they come walking up with no birds.
I'll be honest,
my
I was
boys.
looking for my back trigger. I'm used to old double
Yeah.
barrel
What were you have? You had your gun.
waterfowl gun.
Yeah, shooting steel.
So definitely need to practice up before full blown waterfowl season.
Well, and I think my upland gun shoots differently than my waterfowl gun.
yeah, it
sure
does.
it does.
Like there's like a feel to
Right.
it, you know. But I don't know why neither one of them dumped. I was very frustrated.
That was a lot of geese come off that little
Yeah.
pond.
Yeah.
So that was it. We packed up and we were kind of done antelope hunting. We're like, let's kind of go up in this direction. We'll look some more, but we're kind of heading to where we've hunted pheasants because pheasants also opened.
Right.
So we did kind of a long, drawn-out drive. We eventually popped out where, excuse me, we thought there'd be some pheasants in this bottom. So we hop out to walk it, and we're walking and walking and walking, and Flux is not minding. So Garett is on him, yelling at him, and all of a sudden a rooster
and
flushes.
his collar's not working.
And his collar's not working, which makes it worse.
Right.
Yeah.
And pheasant rooster flushes right in front of Garett.
The biggest rooster, the plumpest rooster.
The prettiest China rooster.
Oh, there we go.
From China.
And right in front of Garett, he doesn't do anything. And I'm like, and before I could yell, because I was across the creek, Dad goes, "The hell are you doing?" So Garett throws up long balls, nothing. And it flies off, and you guys head that way, and I keep walking up this side of the creek.
Crabby Jared.
I was pretty crabby that morning.
Wow.
And we get in there. I don't know what happened on your side, but my side, I walked this whole thing, and nothing. Forge got birdie once, but really nothing. And then I'm walking down the bottom, and you threw in steel shot in yours because on this creek there might have been ducks, and there were some mallards on this corner. I came around. As soon as I see him, I stopped and kind of backed up. Well, Forge is in front of me. He's going, Forge, he can't hear me. I don't want to shout. Well, I go to hit his collar, so he'll stop. My remote's dead. So Forge walks up, and those mallards spook. Did you shoot at him?
Yeah. So
First. Yeah.
Okay. In the time. So Dad and I kind of split off. We're going up, kind of see if we can find where that rooster that we jumped kind of sat, kind of checking this other area out. So we're going, and I kind of walk up on the side hill, really like beautiful pheasant stuff, nothing, dog's not birdie, nothing. So we're kind of walking back kind of towards you, and then pretty soon, boom, dog birdie. I'm like, Joe, dog's birdie, birdie.
Flux is on it hard.
Boom,
Country.
pheasant. Like easy kill. Like,
The same one you missed, probably.
yeah.
The most beautiful, big,
Boom.
plump rooster.
Boom, missed both shots. And I'm like, what the? And I'm like, meanwhile, I'm like, Dad, shoot, because it like flew towards him. And he's like,
Well, I've used my double barrel once, I think, before this that I just got. And I pulled the trigger, nothing. Then I panicked and pulled the second trigger, nothing. I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this? And I forgot, hey, there's a safety on this thing. By the time I figured that out, there's no pheasant around.
yeah. So I just blatantly missed. Like, but at least I got some shots off.
From my
You should have had
perspective,
that.
I hear boom,
Oh, for sure.
boom. And I look over, and all of a sudden a rooster pheasant comes out, flies across the creek, lands on private property.
Plumpest rooster you ever saw.
That was probably the biggest
I'm
rooster I've
mad at
seen.
myself, right? I'm like, oh.
Might have been an albino.
So then, just after that, a flock of
Yeah,
mallards
I popped my
flew
gun
over.
open. I'm throwing
They
my
were pretty
two-
high, flying like some bitch.
Yeah,
And
so he took some long
We
ball
both just
shots.
shot
So that
the-
was in the same time frame when
Yeah.
you spooked those up.
Yep.
just to take our anger out, we shot at them.
But I should have just shot lead and not shot at the ducks, right? I think my gun probably patterned a little bit different because I was getting pretty good with it.
No, that was weird.
But still chaps me a little
So we
bit.
walked that side out, turned around, headed back.
Then we almost got in some trouble because Garrett's handiwork on Onyx almost
Yes.
had us on some private property, but
Yeah,
we
I
got it
didn't orient
straightened
right.
out. A little bit of hollering back and forth, and Garett was an idiot, and Jared was crabby, and Dad was
I
perfect.
heard that story from Jared's perspective too.
here's the deal.
God dang, Holly.
You all have phones. How come I'm the only one?
I
I
left
shouldn't
mine
be
charging.
responsible for you.
So we can chew your ass.
Yeah.
So we turned around, headed back. I bumped a few Sharpies I shot. Forge was real weird that day.
Yeah, he was. That
Like,
morning.
Not worth a shit,
Yeah.
which was just kind of off. But for those Sharpies, too, like, he really didn't want to pick them up. And then I found one Sharpie. They must not have been hunted. It's just walking in front of me, like in the wide open. And I was going to ground sluice it, but I'm like,
Arkansas.
Arkansas, but I'm like, Forge can get it. So I'm pointing Forge at him, and he would run by it, and that thing would just stop. And he would, like, run this way, and I go, Forge, this way. And he'd run by him this way and stop and look, like.
Weird.
That is
not
weird,
sniffing.
especially for him.
And finally, he came running kind of back to me, and then it spooked and I shot, and obviously I missed. And it was such a close shot, but I was also worried I was going to hit forage,
Yeah.
so I probably shot.
I find that a lot in bird hunting, where if you're not really comfortable, you're like, oh, my dog, you'll kind of pull off that bird a little bit, and a lot of times miss.
Which I'm okay with that,
right.
over shooting at my dog. And then I'm walking back, and I get back to a chunk I've walked before. And forage, he's just kind of walking. He's not really sniffing or looking. And I'm constantly having to go, forage, come here, go down in there, forage, right? And we're walking, and I go, forage, down in here, forage. And he finally turns around. My collar's not working right, so I'm yelling at him. And he kind of comes back, and he steps in there, and right at my feet, a rooster flushes. Boom.
Of course.
Well, it's in thick trees, right? But the trees are open to my right, so I swing up. I probably could have shot him through the trees, but I wait till he's out, cleared the trees, boom, shoot, and he drops a leg, and I hit my second barrel and nothing, and I watched him fly. I didn't quite see where he landed, but then I went and I walked and walked and walked, and forage wasn't worth a shit smelling, but I never bumped him, so I came back to the truck like, all right, let's go. I'm ready to antelope hunt now. I hate wounding shit.
Yeah.
I would have been okay missing, but he dropped that one leg, and God damn it. But anyways, we're sitting there. Garett's going for another walk, and I'm like, let's go!
Krabby Jared's back, Mr. Pheasant, dog not minding.
Yeah. Yep. And Garett decides to go for a walk, and you bump some birds on your walk, right?
Some huns.
Some huns. And he's coming around. Well, Dad and I are sitting there, and all of a sudden this group of huns flies right next to us. Garett spook flies right next to where we're at. And I'm like, well, I'll go look at that. I got to try it. So threw some shells and walked over there, and I shot a hun. It worked out. Came back, loaded up. You came back. We headed out. That was kind of the morning. Then I remember I was so mad at you for missing that pheasant in the morning. Why are we here? Shoot the goddamn pheasant. And then I miss one. And I miss one, and I'm like, what a shit
Why do I
morning.
hunt with you?
The whole time I'm walking, I'm like, I wouldn't have fucking missed. And then I pulled that shit.
Jinx yourself.
Yeah.
Well, you're used to shooting slow fine Sharpies. Maybe I'm...
Yeah.
It might have been that still shot, too.
Yeah.
But...
Blame the shot.
We went to... no more antelope. We weren't really seeing antelope. We were kind of back in our old area. Not seeing antelope at all, actually, but there's this bottom that we walked for pheasants before. We got out to walk, and there were some feathers, so people were probably in there before us. And we get out, we're walking, and I'm trying to remember the first one. It was down a little ways, but we're walking and nothing. We're thinking, oh, somebody walked this before us, whatever. So Forge was on that day though, or that afternoon he was on.
Where we were hunting, there's like not plumb thick, but real thick bush clusters.
Clumps, yeah. And Forge would go inside there. I could see
he's small enough. Plus, Jared can convince him to get in that shit. Some of it was Russian olives.
Yeah,
but he'd climb right in that shit.
And one bush, he was kind of circling. I sent him in, and I can hear him breaking branches, and I hear something else. So I kind of turn, and we walked past this bush. I kind of sent Forge in. I turn around, and a rooster came out right where I had just walked, and I shot him. So I was like, boom, pheasant down, first one of the year.
Felt good.
And
then I would like to say the soundtrack changes, like, wouldn't it be nice? And it was like all sunshine and rainbows.
All of a
Jared's
sudden I was happy.
Completely different person.
Threw the bird in the back, and we kept walking.
It's
Walked
getting pretty hot. The dogs were getting hot.
Yep. And we walked quite a ways and nothing. Not really even getting birdie.
Right.
And same thing happened. We all kind of walked past this bush.
I know. You said next shady spot, let's sit down and rest the dogs. And you were across this little drainage, not very far from us, maybe 20 yards. And then me and Garett sat down on the hillside, kind of in the...
Set my gun down.
I sat down. Garett was getting down.
Getting my dog bowls out, and then pheasant on the bush that you're on the other side of. Boom.
Right next.
Forge went down in there.
Yeah.
Forge flushed a rooster out of that thick bush.
And I can hear Garett cussing.
Gosh dang it.
And it just so happened that pheasant turned around to my side, and boom, Pheasant number 2 down.
Wouldn't it be nice? Sunshine and rainbows like times 2.
Oh God.
I felt like I was hunting with 2 different people. There's a crabby person in the morning and like the nicest guy in the afternoon.
And so then we took a break.
Yep. Watered the dogs, let them cool off.
Yep. And we decided to go back. There was a higher section we could walk to. There's a few bushes that you've shot a pheasant there before. So we're like, yeah, we'll try it. So Dad heads back to the truck. You and I walk up there, and first thick grass we get in, hen pheasant.
Boom. Yeah. Like right at my feet.
Yeah.
Like
Here we go.
Dogsbury. This is gold.
Yep. And we walk up a little more, nothing, a little bit more, nothing. And all of a sudden, right at my feet, rooster pheasant. Boom! I got my limit.
And
Play a song.
from my perspective, it was like, boom, rooster pheasant, right? Had to make sure he's clear. Boom, just about ready to like, and it's fallen. It's like, what the heck?
Well, and two, how I was setting up for these bushes, it was like, all right, Garrett, I felt like I was kind of walking on the shittier sides. I was like,
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but how-
you never do that. You
even
always
when we were
pick a good
talking, I'm
side.
like, okay, you can walk that side, I'll walk right here, right? Blah, blah, blah. It just happened to flush my way. Well, we're walking up, and we jump a bunch of Sharpies, and they fly to some other bushes.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, well, let's go walk those bushes. There's might be a pheasant in there with the Sharpies. So we run the dogs in, Sharpies flush, and you shoot one, boom. And one turns from where you shot, and I shoot one, boom. And I look at you, and you're like, I couldn't resist.
Yeah,
I had to shoot something. So we grabbed them, and there's
Show you that I could hit something.
Yep. There's a little tall grass, a little bit of bushes left right at the top fence line there. And it's like, all right, Garrett, you get in the bottom. That's where I jump the pheasant, 100 yards down. You get in the bottom. I'll stay high to the right, and we'll walk through. And we walk through, and we just get to the end, and a whole group of Huns jump right at my feet at the top. Yeah, I got one
on
of
that
them.
little walk. You limited it out on pheasants.
Yep.
You got a Sharpie and a Hun with all
Yep.
within like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Sometimes with bird hunting, things just go someone's way. Right?
100%.
And that's what-
there's no skill there. It just
No.
was like
Yeah.
the right person, the right time, flew the right way.
Well, your dog deserved it too. Your dog was
Yeah.
Yeah.
stellar in that country.
Yeah. He pushed them out of those bushes.
But I need to make a note here that I don't think you deserved it because you were such a dick in the morning. I mean, he was unbearable to be around. Let's go.
It was God pay me back for her
And
animal.
then he was all happy.
Yeah.
He used up all of his kindness on you. That's
Yeah.
bullshit.
He was still nice when he got back to the truck.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I just limited out.
yeah.
Yeah, that was back in sunshine time there.
Then we hopped in and
Headed out.
I think we just drove straight out. We didn't.
Well, we
Stop
drove. I
again.
wanted to go look for antelope, so we drove up some country
Yeah,
we
we
were
went on a
used
long
to.
drive.
Oh, yeah.
We seen a few on private, but most of the places we're normally seeing, we didn't see anything.
Nothing. Not even hunters.
No, it was pretty dry.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
But we talked about this when we were on the trip, but there's a lot of pressure that comes to this state, and it sucks. But it's also in the state you have an opportunity. I mean, we went out and had a great adventure, an adventure that people probably only dream about.
Right, that's true.
And we just did it kind of on a whim.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just want to,
Yeah.
before I forget this, is that I took basically 2 days off, Friday and Monday. I did not kill one thing. My opportunities were really low. Should have been able to shoot at a rooster.
And an antelope.
Yeah, I didn't kill anything. That's pretty rare. And I lost my DeWalt favorite flashlight, my DeWalt 20-volt battery. They have my name on them and my phone number. So if any of you guys out there find that, please call me.
Joe Mason.
Yes.
Joe
I've
Mason.
been having to hear
So-
about that flashlight for a while.
I was going to say, if I have to hear one more time about this flashlight.
You poor little baby.
I shot an antelope. So.
Overall, I was going to say the best part of the trip is you shot a huge antelope. Thank God for that. But now I wish I wouldn't have said it after you had a little comment.
Now I feel bad.
I got the head caped out, ready for a Euro, And first thing she said is, well, bring it inside. We got to see it next year's. So I had to go in and hold it up next to all the ones on the wall. And, If I would have shot it, it would have been my second biggest antelope.
Really? That's a dandy.
That sandbagging mother.
Not quite as tall. He's just lacking in height.
Those
He had the
paddles.
mass and
Yeah,
big
paddles.
paddles and
Beautiful.
If he would have been tall.
And he had this beautiful black face on him, and I was like,
from caping him and looking at his teeth, he's young too. He wasn't an old buck.
Why'd you do that, Holly? He could have been a monster. He could have been a book buck.
You know, when you're hunting public land, you don't get to make that
Yeah,
choice.
you don't get to watch them.
Yeah, that's a good one.
it. We don't know if it was public land. We weren't there.
There was that mule deer that got posted, that crazy looking non-tip.
Oh, right. On a
And he's
Facebook
like,
group.
finally got to take him, been watching him for a few years. You only get that luxury if it's
yeah.
on a private ranch.
Yeah.
If he is anything worth shooting, you either take it or
It's gone.
someone else does.
Right.
Yeah. You don't get
to watch
watch
him
it
every
grow
year
up.
on your
No.
little
Yeah.
camera.
No. So that was something to say. But yeah, that was our adventure. I
Grand
think it was a
adventure.
good one.
Yep.
It was a good one. We have a few more takes to fill.
It
Probably
was
won't
good,
get
but I
filled.
didn't kill anything.
Well, you got a few more weekends.
At this point, you just need
I just go for the fun anyway. I don't really care about anything else.
yeah.
I'm not really after it. I mean, if I seen Holly's buck, I would like to shot it, rubbed it into everybody, but
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I'm glad that she got it, and it's just cool when you guys get to do it and I get to watch.
And I think that transitioned, right? Because
Yeah.
when you were at our age, it was like,
totally.
and now it's kind of like you'd rather see
When
us.
I was your age, I wouldn't want to go back to the truck. I'd been the other way.
Yeah.
So fuck you guys. I didn't say the F word.
Well, thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Are we on Facebook?
We're not on Facebook
Okay,
yet.
not Facebook.
OnlyFans with Jared and Holly's special photos of the moleskin.
Got to pay for it.
Yeah.
watch this be the
It's worth
only
paying for.
one my dad listens to.
Really want subscribers and all our stuff, so
Yep.
be sure to subscribe. It helps us just kind of continue. And if you have any suggestions for topics or anything, let us know. You know, don't be
Email
afraid
us.
to
Yep.
email, instant message, DM, whatever. But one thing, you know, we hunt a lot of public land. Hunting's tragedy of the commons. One thing we want to drive home is that we want to share your shot and not necessarily your spot.
New T-shirt. Share your shot, not your spot.
He can read.
Slowly.
We got another one. That's just our.
Our saying surviving the
Saying.
week to live on the weekends.
And then we have one printed out. GTFD.
And that flashes back for us to the Aaron Collective.
Yep.
Do you want to go ahead and say the acronym?
Get the F down
Yeah.
from Uncle Dan. His famous words.
So check out our website if you're interested in any of our teas. And always, we will be
surviving the week to live on the weekends.